There. Hi there. Hi. Hi, Mr. Daniel. Sir. Mr. Daniel, can you hear me?
What's that? Not too bad. You did a great job cleaning up the park.
Hey, Brent.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So Noel Daniel is just the people that want to listen on the Bighorn thing because they have a contract with them. So I sent them an invite.
Joe?
Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, barely. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay.
You know the dance situation? We have like some army side, alongside that.
Yeah.
Never really noticed.
That's good.
Good to know that they're here a lot. Did I forward to you guys all those letters? Yeah, so they agree. Susan here tonight too?
No,
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, let's call meeting to order.
Betsy Blakesley,
Here.
Bob Hamilton,
Thank you.
Cindy Neely,
I'm here.
Mark, oh my gosh. I know your name. Joan Eaton, Fred Ganser. And that's everybody here.
I move that we, put the agenda as.
I start, there, right, and audience business. Is anyone here tonight not on the agenda tonight? So, everyone to speak.
No,
Okay. Open new business then, George Schmidt, Mom? I'm sorry.
Brian.
Right. That's changes. Yeah. You want to just state your name and the location, the address that you have, and then we'll discuss changes.
Brian Schmidt, in the house, I think 921 Main Street.
Just continuation of the. Okay, why don't you tell us what you did to the front?
So I changed the pitch on the roof and lowered the roof 2 feet. Took a lot of mass out of both the front gable and of the full roof itself.
where's the roof pitch now?
6 foot.
Oh.
Any comments? Yeah.
What's the board at the bottom of the porch?
that like a,
Yeah, there's a trim board that goes around the bottom towards the 1 by 10 to ensure that.
it's just
It just
around,
matches.
it's just around the porch, it doesn't.
There are some trim boards around.
But the one I think is just. Corners of 1 by 6.
So that's it.
Are all the windows the same size?
Mostly on the front, yes, except for the two sides.
Okay, yeah.
But all the big windows are the same distance.
Wood garage door still?
Excuse me?
Wood garage door?
It's a metal garage door.
That looks like it.
It's a metal garage. Yeah, it's wood grain paint finish.
Does it have all those panels?
That was the last one.
Yeah, it's the one that you got in the original packet. It's got 2 panels on each level, and so it's 6 panels altogether.
It's really old.
It's just the program I use doesn't have a Home Depot door that. Yes.
Okay, so, my number 2 is the south side. So,
And the rail is just on the side, not on the approach, right?
Yes.
Okay. Metal rail or what kind of rail?
Wood.
Wood rail, wood handrails, okay, small.
So,
And you mentioned this before, the seaming is not seaming, it's exposed, it's stuck over,
Yeah.
or something.
It's got stuff over it.
Right, so it won't look like seaming.
But no.
elevation 4, south side.
Yeah. Same all the rail in the back seat.
Yep. They are on there, I guess I printed off the wrong, they didn't get on this one, but they're still gonna go.
On 3 sides. The belly ones.
Oh, okay.
I didn't notice that they're not on this, they're.
Okay, okay. Just on this, south elevation, you're still keeping that little wood over that door. Did you? It was
On the north elevation, maybe, for the basement back door.
The south, we have a question on lock.
So mine said south, but it's actually the north, so. Yeah, I didn't write south, we're actually north. Okay, yeah, I'm on south. I'm just wondering, because there was some talk about whether there's sort of issue about that.
I don't think, we're not gonna have a.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not. The worst. So that is not, it's elevation 4. You know, we can.
Anybody else have anything on? As far as the aggregate, this is a detail, but the concrete in the driveway, we can put the regular color into it.
They just color the DG 37,
Yes, the
it's a concrete that they use.
use on the walkways will, we item that I would say, this is stone, 237. Sidewalks is £2 per 94 or 96 side.
It's not a dark color, it's just not a gray.
It doesn't.
make sure that it's.
So it doesn't look like it.
John, we have that information that needs to look at.
The color of the concrete.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And the dark sky is a full cutoff. The dark sky is interesting because lots of folks advertise in some things that as long as you like cold, it is not protruding, it means your dark sky. And actually, it needs to recess so it cuts off.
It has to have a red bulb in it,
Yes.
because some of the bulbs still hang down and you don't have the red bulb.
Exactly, so,
fine.
yeah.
Actually, just look across the street.
Yeah, all those houses.
Except that some of the advertising is somewhat misleading.
Okay.
Okay, we done on the north side. The windows look nice. Okay, so we'll go to east. Oh, yeah.
Rest is elevation, right?
Yes. It's
Back.
west. It's
I just had a question, when two of the windows in the basement are bigger than the other windows, I just, I'm curious as to why that is. Okay, I guess they do match things on the bottom floor, so. That was, I mean, I don't have a problem with it,
There's a lot more uniform, they're all lined up over each other, it's a lot more uniform, I think it's good. Okay, so this is just a little balcony, there's no steps up to it,
no.
the same railing as the front, you know, wooden. How about the roof line, guys, I like it. Yeah, looks great, thanks. Yeah. The roof line looks good, it's,
I did put the 3 on it, but it looked like the house had 2.
Sometimes too much is too much.
Yeah, a little bit too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
Is it just a wood deck?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have that, so. You know, we're talking about. All right, nobody else has anything on the list, let's go to south side. South, page 3.
Elevation.
Whichever one. It looks like you jumped out that door. Okay. So the window alignment looks nice and don't see the belly to be there, so
This will be better.
I think there wasn't much else on this side that we can discuss.
So will this be like cinder block shown?
No.
It'll have a, we call it the wall, it'll have a cement covering over it, so it's not going to be body paint, so.
Now we've all asked you that, right?
Anybody else want to ask
This, we did ask you about your retaining walls, correct? This, where this is step down,
Yes.
Oh, wait, just,
So there are gonna be some, you know, practice.
and the height can only be 4 feet before it has to.
Yeah, they're lower than that.
Okay. All right. Well, guys. Are we ready to do some sightings?
Can I have some sightings for us? We're book 2, chapter 1, page 7. Which actually we start on page 9.
Yeah.
Massive size. Yeah, I've got A 1, 2, and 3. B1. And C1. Page 10, which is section 2, I guess, or paragraph 2, building form, building and roof form. A1. Goes into the Y. Same page, B1. We're a little less than with 2, 6 bar was fine. Say, 2. 2. Now take B1. So it's 30,000 words each national regulation. Page 11, paragraph 3, building setbacks. A1. That's all we need there. And then we go to chapter 5. We stop on page 41.
Section.
Book 2.
Section. Okay.
Yeah, it's section 2. Probably paragraph 3, site range.
I would suggest that the statements from the zoning review takes the city hall statement. The drainage plan should be reviewed and approved by our engineer. That doesn't come to us, that comes into the town and the building. And that's, I believe what the administrative review of zoning asked that we make sure that we mention.
Why don't we add that as a stipulation?
So typically we add that we can't approve that part of it, we need to review it.
So this is.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not our administrator. Right, you already reviewed it, you recommended that
We need to.
I need to read this.
And we need to
Because
have
it's
their
not
appropriate.
slopes, it's not just like that.
Did you look at the topo map in this meeting that you made us find? We did present you all twice with the topo map. That shows that the slope isn't even 5 feet and the whole 65 feet. And that the back elevation of our property is at the same elevation as the property to the west of us. So the elevation line goes between our property, the Copenhagen didn't. The county had to find it for us, the city didn't have it, the city planners didn't have it, they said, nobody ever had that. But it doesn't mean that's not true. Well, they
The
said,
point is this, because there's potential runoff, because it's potential and it can go into someone else's property, therefore, we can demand a guarantee that it will not happen. And that's all we're asking is to put time, yeah.
it's got 18 feet, 17 feet, 16 feet back there. No.
My house is less than 16 feet from the house behind me, and he's got a basement with a fender. which is there.
I think there's several people in town that can do that, aren't there?
And all I'm reporting is what was reported.
It's another
on the
thing.
information.
Yeah, so the point here is that we're noting that this has been put on the zoning review and that we just need to call your attention to it, that will need to be done. We don't have any control over that.
So does that mean we have to go to the planning in 6 weeks?
No.
So I think what you need to understand is the code says that because it's been a concern, it's been brought to the planning, been brought here, that because there's concern with it, the code says, I have authority to ask you to do it.
Can I ask who brought it? Because we've lived here forever. The house behind us, directly to the west, has a wood English garden shed, garden summer home, built right on the property line. She's not concerned about water, never has been. She's got 2 other sheds. If you go and look at that property, they're built right on the line. Now, I know Pat's dead, but she's not stupid and she would never have built there if there was any water drainage. If you look at the money she spent back there, and she's not 5 feet even off the line, she's right there.
But currently there's not a house behind her, right? So that's
Wait a
just,
minute, currently, what?
you're talking about the house behind your lot, right? And so there's not a house on your lot right now that would affect her. Just typically, once there's building and construction, we want to make sure it does not impact the neighbor by drainage. And it's not us in particular, it's just a part of the process. And it shouldn't be part of the time.
And Safeco's gonna have to assess an issue now.
So we're talking about, we have to go to the planning commission now in another 6 weeks, so mid-August.
This is
This is a building permit.
Yeah,
It's
that's the
a
present issue we want you to be
document
aware of.
that they will do a study to guarantee that the runoff is not going to protrude or go into another person's property, that's it.
So you're not
It's a condition that would be, that we have examined, and because the concern has been brought up multiple times, I'm putting it as a condition. That's all.
He is as the administrator, not as a.
Who's the, we're
It
concerned
says-
about who the they is,
it
because
says
they
under-
that told us.
It doesn't matter. It's because it has been brought up and because of where your property is. We're trying to make sure that there's a guarantee that runoff is not going to be an issue in the future.
Okay, well, who's going to decide that? You're gonna go and do measurement?
No, I'm using the code. No, say Bill, but no, you're gonna submit a document, we'll have it reviewed to make sure that the document proves. The engineer says, hey, I've done the study, it is clear.
So we have to have an engineer.
Correct.
I have to imagine
Everybody
that.
has to have this.
Yes, that's standard. It's standard for. Correct. This is code.
This should be part of the
This is
foundation
nothing,
design.
nothing new that code doesn't say for us to do.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so when we submit the thing, we submit the document that says that the drainage problem has been not mitigated, that there's.
That's why we asked, the state certified engineer to still sign off. We're not the ones who are experts, we defer to the subject matter expert.
Okay, so this is, okay, all right.
We went through this up at Capital Prize, I don't know what they said, and I heard that we had a huge discussion, and that's the way to do it.
We have a couple of problems.
Oh, yeah. All great
But
stuff.
they dropped 20 feet.
Yeah, I know.
This is not how you know it's not gonna run off onto your property from your
Yeah, it runs into their, theirs runs under our property, and it runs down the next block, that's not our problem.
You want their drainage to go through your lot?
No, I'm saying, the way.
Okay, we're moving on.
Okay, let's move on.
Just another for you.
Where were you
We're
on?
on page 41,
I think
section
we're,
2.
well, I think we're on to,
Forty-three, just talk about site.
views, I don't think that's an issue.
On page 43, we did bring up the site drainage for one no.
Forty-four is site relationship, building orientation. And say A1. Well, so this is.
No, particularly C. Oriented building parallel to its lot lines and C1.
So when, how do we do this when we're having them have a garage that sits up further than the house? Do we have to put right back down on that? That would include that? It's,
No,
you know,
not
that just,
specifically.
that doesn't apply.
No, not specifically.
So we're at D1.
B2.
Okay, and page 45. Building setbacks. Which is paragraph 6.
Okay.
A1. I should sign that. And I would say C, which is about that 2 documents, should not impinge on that. Sign that. So it's okay. Pedestrian systems on page 46, it's chapter 7.
I don't really have.
No, it's not applicable. Moving on to chapter 6 on page 47. Item 1 on page 48, or paragraph 1, for landscaping and site features.
And, you know, you are incorporating some plantings in the project, you've mentioned some plantings.
There's gonna be trees and zeros.
So it's,
So,
and they're gonna be typically what's found.
yes, yes.
So C1,
B1.
C1B and D1. No, not that order. That's not the reason to write. Just while you're looking there, back about the garage, you actually set the garage back 6 feet, didn't you?
It was a 4 foot, so.
Okay,
That's kind of range.
yeah, that's a that's.
And then the porch now is 6 and 12.
Yeah, I was looking at it. It's,
That helps a lot.
page 49, J, decks are, may be appropriate, and they are.
And also G, defining the interior walkways, the appropriate materials include, sort of an aggregate concrete with the finish.
expose that.
Back to J1, J2, which is the composite material, they're usually working.
Currently, my plan is to have wood on the back, but it might be positive for that if I had to do all of it. But right now, it's gonna be wood.
Typically wood, railings and stuff, but the decking material is composite. That's
Railroad.
that's been, to see that long past.
So, get the retaining walls. You really have.
That's some of it's not,
I mean, less than 4 feet.
yeah, all less than 4 feet.
Which exciting.
On page 50. I guess B1. C1, if it's applicable. We use water pressure by providing drainage lines. E1. Probably it'd be rock, I assume. Yes, it'll be rock. Yeah, wonderful.
Yes. You'll find some.
E1, minimize 4 feet. Trees out. So on page 54, with the show section 2, chapter 5, lighting. Somewhere I'll say dark side.
But that's actually.
It's in a rectangle on that page, it's not a number.
The numbers.
Oh, yeah, it says, yeah, dark side. If you already got the full color, dark sky. And that really, if you go to the full sky, then everything else is kind of. Page 55, section 6, residential parking, garages and driveways.
So E1, we're making an exception.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, D1, or D, which when a garage must be attached, the percentage of building front should be minimized.
E1.
Yeah, D is dog.
But also E1.
They made some changes to make it simpler.
Yeah,
Yes, E1.
D1.
Okay.
And on page 56 is paving materials, which is also the applicable concrete. So E and E1.
Yeah, I think 7, 5, 8 service areas. Don't really have issues there.
A2, under 9.
58.
Utilities is,
Located in the rear property.
and the fact that all the vents should be painted something
That's something.
dark color. We try to roof vents and stuff.
So that's A1, A2,
And A6.
that's B. That's it.
No, you said you didn't know.
No, I'm really. Oh, it's fine, I'll shiny stuff. Yeah, just, probably, painted stuff that's coming out of the walls that would be reflective and stuff, just have it blend in with whatever it's on. Chapter 7, architectural features. $64. Say A1, B1, which is A1 is just, you should be able to tell new construction, which the issue. B1, or B, avoid stylistic ornamentation that confuses the history of Georgetown. And those two applies at all, but that's the historic features. Replacement, 3 does not apply, that's replacing the missing elements. Directional emphasis, A1 should have I'm on page 67, article 4. And A1, it's building should have a vertical emphasis. In B, windows and door openings reinforce the vertical emphasis, which they do. Also on 67.5 is roofs.
And 5 itself, traditional residential uses. It's the paragraph on the 5.
Yeah. Then, it's 6 on windows and doors, really doesn't apply. So, you do something to the existing structure.
Well, eventually it applies. All the way on page 70,
Oh, okay.
on J,
Yeah, that's window and door trim should be trimmed out similar to what you see in town, which is what you got. So, yeah, so J1 and J2. Page 71. Actually, on 72. D1. It says the use of a porch on a new residential building is strongly encouraged. So that's on page 72. Page 73, Article 8, building foundations. B1 and C1. B1 says, you know, you shouldn't, there should be a clear distinction between the foundation and the wall material. Code's going to require that. And then C1, minimum of 12 inches, any bigger than 12 inches needs to be covered with some kind of, so. In 74, Article 9, chimney and stovepipes, I don't think we had any chimney. On that.
no, it's still right, that's it. Sorry.
City right friends.
That's what you get from 3 hours of paying.
So we're designing that. On YouTube. I just got
Chapter 8 is our design guidelines for building materials.
Text.
On page 76,
Okay.
paragraph 1, wood and siding.
You got the doors in me?
Okay, ooh,
For siding, all I just go to page 81. You go into this.
Yeah, that's all this right.
This is-
no buildings.
Yeah.
that-
A, which is maintain existing range of exterior wall materials, which are one, covers lap siding. And you're going with like a hardy board,
Smart J, right,
yeah, and it's, what's the exposure?
5 inches.
5 inches, fine, that's great. That covers,
Just got A and B.
A1, appropriate materials are siding.
I thought you should use D, we talked about cardboard. And that's, where she said.
Oh, okay.
So,
Because it was B2. Yeah. Page 82, roof materials. C1, we strongly recommend that you go with the 50-year composite shingles.
I think it's correct.
Zero part here.
And if you want to put gutters or downspouts on the house, they are appropriate if you paint them that.
It will be.
It's just, you know,
that's page 83.
It says E.
and you don't alter the exterior trim elements you want to do.
I think that's about
I
it.
think that's it, yeah.
Okay,
Stipulations,
so I'm not gonna write these as stipulations if you actually have them on your plans, so you can let me know what you think is a stipulation. Okay, guys, I've got a 1x4 window trim, 1x6 door trim. The belly boards are 1x10 on the south, north and west elevations. All of those are on your plans, correct, so they're not stipulations.
All of that is on the material.
Okay, so those are not
You
stipulations.
said 1x6 around the doors.
And that
I
was
just
just-
have 1x6 in the corner.
Okay, that's, yeah, just one by four.
Gotcha. Okay, so, the two stipulations was the Dave sandstone color 5327 for concrete. And the other is rather a note that you've been informed of the drainage, plan, we going to have engineer.
I got that.
For your
That's
permission.
just down.
All right, so those are the only two things.
John, what was the number of neighbors?
5237?
Yes, okay.
Oh, I've got 5327.
Yes, yeah.
5237.
It says the 237, yes. The other one gets too pink, and you don't necessarily want to be too pink.
Okay.
I make a motion to accept the application as presented with stipulations and the signs given.
And I will second.
Is there any more discussion on these comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay.
Awesome.
You guys, I just wanna say something that, since all the people are on Zoom.
Yeah.
You guys need to speak up. Like louder, because you guys, it's hard to.
It's one person at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are allowed to sit down.
Yeah, yes, sit in a comfy chair. Okay, Bighorn people, we'll be with you in a couple minutes. Thank you for waiting.
Thank you, Jen.
Okay, as you can see, we don't necessarily consider the other things that obviously have to be, we only consider what things look like, we don't get into the other, things like, can you actually get connected to water or sewer?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
You don't consider
On this
any.
next one, I put one that's gonna be drainage also, which was obviously. Because I'll obviously bring up that, during the construction on building 8, and for one of their service lines, as they were trying to put in a foundation. And it ended up flooding one of the other existing buildings there, so drainage is a huge thing on
Yes,
this.
thank you.
Yeah, it's, you know, a visual. Go to the, didn't make it to the lagoon, ended up sitting right in that. I don't have. That's a really good thing.
And another thing too is, just because they submit a plan is not sufficient. You need an engineered plan.
Yeah. Right,
You know,
we know.
Cause I saw this and I was like, that's not sufficient.
We know that, I just feel that in general, if we have notifications on the zoning review, that it's yellow,
Yeah.
that tells us to get to
Yeah, and I-
the applicant of that.
I try to highlight the things that are mentioned for.
That's right, and you should remind the applicant that they need to resolve those,
Well, I'm sure Citigo's gonna require, they're gonna have to have engineered drawings for the foundation and structure. I mean, that's a good.
This is a new application, so it's.
That's another point, because this is new, it's flagging. I don't care if it's pre-existing, I'm not concerned about that.
Right, yeah.
This is a new.
Structure, new building.
Training.
Well, it's sitting in a hole.
It's gonna be the son's house.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so, because they've already communicated, because they need to pay for it, they can't draw steps.
This is that house.
Because you asked how she was gonna say, why did she say this house was not designed? And he admitted that this was
And they
not.
have this huge house, they're going for.
So I brought it up to him, and he can. It was not.
Okay, that's After that.
Yeah, that's why we put.
The Bighorn people are saying we sound like we're in a tunnel and we're muffled. So everybody's gonna have to hold their head up so it projects out and speak loud and clear. Can you hear us from here? Kurt, can you hear us, Kurt?
I can hear you very well. I usually can hear Rick very well. The rest gets muffled. I don't know why.
Can you bring that speaker closer to you? I'm gonna try to put this on the chair.
Everybody, try to just one person speak at a time.
And just talk real loud.
Okay, we're ready to go.
I'm actually very sorry that I'm not there in person. I was going west on I-70, the road was closed. And then we've had an incredible deluge of rain up here. And there's just been absolutely, I-70's been closed a lot of the days. Which you'd expect that in the winter, certainly not in the summer.
Expect so all year. Okay, let's officially start this part. Garrett, would you come forward, or who's actually the representative on this? Is it you, Kurt? Can you hear me?
Who's gonna speak for you?
I have Will Hinchell and Griffin from 359.
Greetings. Hi, everyone.
Okay, tell me your names again, because I can't see them up there.
Yep. Hello. This is Will Henschel, Principal 359 Design. And Griffin Gilbert, Project Manager at 359 Design.
And Noel is just listening, and Martin is our planning consultant.
That's straight in. Are you hearing all right?
Yes, I can hear you. So yes, would you like us to give a presentation? Would you like a synopsis? Tell us what you'd like to.
A brief synopsis would be good.
Sure.
You know, maybe let me start just a little bit. Clearly, we have gone through this process once before. In the process, we had, with another project, obtained the units for the apartments. And so we then redirected our efforts into the apartments. We built the apartments, completed those, fully occupied, and I think there's a significant wait list for those. Now we're coming back to, obviously, these townhomes. Our COA had expired, and we're coming now with the exact same proposal, exact same materials, exact same floor plans as we started in 2018 and 19.
Aren't they being stick built though, instead of?
These will be the exact same measurements, exact same, everything that you would see in buildings 3, 5, and 7 that is on the lake. There will be no change other than each building will have a slightly different variation of the same materials. It'll be stucco, it'll be hardy board, it'll be just different combinations so that it's not a standard townhome complex that everything looks the same. We will have it set up as we did before in exactly the same design as we had before, so that people can find their house, their unit.
And Jen, Will Henschel, your question was, is this going to be stick built or what have you? And I think as Kurt said, well, regardless of the construction, it's going to appear exactly the same, the dimensions, all of those pieces. We've been going through the pricing exercises back and forth and back and forth, and it's Kurt and I spoke just before this, and it's still undecided which means of construction we're going to utilize. So
the current times have made it extremely complex, and there's just a variety of commodity limitations, supply chain issues, and labor issues. And we're just trying to make it, when we get started, we can make this a very streamlined, efficient process.
Do we have feelings about whether we'd like to see stick built or not? Is my question.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your opinion?
My opinion is stick built's a lot better quality than the modulars are. It's my opinion. The finished product is there, I think.
I not going to disagree with you in any way. I think that we're leaning towards stick-built. I'd say there's a high probability of that. But if the project's going to be 40 million instead of 20 million, I have to reconsider it if there's that big a difference.
I think one of the considerations in that is the wind tunnel in which this is being constructed. You're in a very high wind zone. And I think whatever is strongest becomes an important characteristic.
Well, when you stick build also, your finishing on the outside is much higher quality than trying to patch up a modular, is my point. Because when you put the building blocks together, you try to cover it up the side if it doesn't work as well as a traditional stick build.
Well, I will say that I never dreamed that there'd be winds that go through there. I mean, I've seen a 4x8 plywood sheet that levitated and floated away. It is beyond comprehension, which is why, we actually, in one of the slides, we have spent a lot of time with landscape architects and landscape engineers to try to mitigate the winds that will occur there and what can actually grow and what won't. And I agree. That's why I agree. It is a windy spot.
And do you agree that there is an advantage to stick-built?
I would not say that. I think that the two are constructed extremely similar. There's actually no difference. The difficulty in modular versus stick would be that everything's lined up, so the plumbing, electrical, everything is in chases that is easily to construct. So I really, I've done both. I'm doing stick built in Montrose right now. We're doing 96 apartment units stick built. I did 72 apartment units in Georgetown modular. And I would say that, I will say that the stick built, you can adjust as you go. In the modular, you have to spend a lot of time at the plant to make sure you're getting what you want to get.
So given the seriousness of the winds here, which are really serious, do you have a high confidence level that the modular will stand up to all of that?
100%, but I'll let Will answer that because he's the architect.
Thanks, Kurt. Yeah, I mean, we need to design to the code, to the, this is Will Henschel 359 design. We need to design to the wind codes. We need to design to all of the structural pieces. We have another location that that the design wind loads are very similar to Georgetown, and that is in an area in Bozeman, Montana. We've designed that and delivered that as modular. The next phase of that is going as stick, and there'll be, the modular is standing up to the wind. It's been approved by code. It has the structural capacity. It has the structural clipping, all of those things that we need to do. So that all comes down to the means and methods, to the building code, to the responsibility of that side. And whichever route we decide to go on this, and we have construction documents, surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly to this group, for both modular and stick built here. So to short answer your question, yes, I'm very confident whichever route we take, we will be designed to the wind loads.
Kurt brought up the other aspect of the problem, though. Whenever it comes as modular, there is very little adjustment. finishes and you don't have the same ability to finish, as carefully on site. I mean, you put the modulars together in the way that they arrive. There is, there's very little room to adjust anything that might be adjusted. And what Mark has suggested is the exterior finish is just not the same quality as a stick-built building.
And I would agree with that. With
I'm-
all the lighting brush.
Yeah.
That the exterior quality is just, is better on a stick-built, building.
Is there a substantial difference in price between stick-built and modular?
My comment to that is that they're moving by every 2 weeks. We're seeing them bounce. We're really seeing them bounce like this. And
It's basically Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin. At this point.
So let me be clear, you're saying that some weeks modular is more expensive than stick-built and other weeks stick-built is more expensive than modular, is that what you're saying?
that is absolutely true. And I would say every other week, it is bouncing all over the place right now. We have about 6 projects that are in the similar phase to this, where they're trying to get under construction and that sort of thing. And construction costs are valid for a 2-week period right now. And if you don't validate it by the end of the 2 weeks, then that cost is no longer validated. It's no longer applicable. So we're really bouncing around.
I'll make a comment too. I worked with lots of developers with modular and stick-built apartments or townhomes or stick-built or single family.
Can you hear him all right? You guys on the screen, can you hear him all right?
Okay, and so what I found is the advantage of the manufactured homes was them building in a facility and they didn't have any problems of weather or anything like that. They can knock this out, but it has to be really good because when it's delivered, there's not much changes because it's set. So the quality was the same to me. I saw it's all wood and good materials. And I would confirm what Mark had said, it's the exterior that I found that we had the biggest problems, is when things didn't line up, or when they didn't finish details because it left gaps. Those are the things that we have to be very consistent on, making sure that doesn't get, swept under the rug. So, but as far as the quality, I didn't see a difference in quality, and it really depended on how quick they can get the product or can they build it on site.
I think that a very important component of all that is that Will and his group, they visit the site on a continuous basis to make sure on various important timeframes that they see inside all the walls, and so that they know exactly how it's being built.
Yeah, and
to add, when you were putting these together, that you had major plumbing issues where things didn't line up, the sprinkler systems weren't lined up. So why aren't you a little gun shy about doing modulars when you have that added cost of going in there and tearing stuff apart, the retrofit? Is that not correct?
We will watch.
Let me say, I think that we have a high probability of doing stick. I don't want to close the door for if the prices are 25% difference. I think that any kind of chase issues is resolved at the factory, in the measurements at the factory. I think that an efficiently built modular will compete very well with any stick built. And I think stick built sometimes can be a variable too because of the winds and the various things that are occurring in Georgetown. And in addition, Georgetown, we have found it very difficult to bring subs in from Denver or any of the surrounding area because of, the efforts of getting through I-70. And there's enough work in Denver, there's enough work in Silverthorne and Vail and all these different locations. To come to Georgetown has been a very difficult process. And it even starts with the concrete. There's only a couple cement plants that we can actually access cement, and so they can price anything they want on the cement. Now that's the same for stick or modular, but it shows a reflection of Georgetown is a great place. People love it. We could sell 1,000 of these units in my eye, but it's very difficult to get people coming up from Denver.
So are you making a relationship between that and the complexity of stick-built versus modular? You feel it's more efficient to do modular? Is that what your message is?
No, my message is that the question becomes, can you get subs up to Georgetown? And that is the biggest complexity here. Georgetown, if you're coming from Denver, could be an hour, it could be 2 hours, depending on the traffic. And so when people are bidding, and I will say, given the economic times that we're sort of in face of right now, a lot of these people that are saying no and doubling their price could bring their price down quite a bit very quickly. And so stick built becomes very economical, and it's the right thing to do. But I think that right now there's so much construction going on in Georgetown in Denver, it is very difficult to bring them up without charging a 50% surcharge.
I'm sorry, I'm not following this in the sense of, does that suggest that difficulty of getting those people, does that suggest that you would prefer one form over another?
Well, I think that if it was even dollars, modular, they drop them in. There's no complexities. You go to the factory once a week, make sure it's being built properly, and everything works out just fine. Stick built, someone doesn't want to come up from Denver that's doing your electrical, and we have delays. So I would say it's really a toss-up. I think the quality of product ends up being the same.
But we have witnessed the struggle with the modulars.
The modulars coming from the East Coast were a long drive, and so clearly the long drive caused a lot of rattling as they went through a lot of states to the Colorado. And the reason we did that was my partner owns that factory, and so wanted to use his factory. But regardless, we're going to make a decision that's economical, but also I do not want to provide any kind of poor quality in any way, in any shape.
As a commission, can we dictate what we'd rather see?
Well, there's someplace in here, and I didn't know we have this question that essentially says that we don't do modular construction. Fred, Workchurch?
No, I didn't, it's coming up some.
Okay.
Time.
I think it's speak this horse,
Yeah, I do too. But there is obviously a clear preference that we have stick construction.
It sounds to me like you need to pick a week when prices are good and you don't stick. I can't imagine shipping stuff from the East Coast now with bad prices. And if it's not a big preference for you, I really would prefer stick built and get them done.
Modular manufacturing. I don't know which it says. I know it's there somewhere.
We're searching something at the moment.
I think we should, yeah.
I think we
Oh, yeah,
should- we should
that's
take
all.
a-
Let's get to the issue at hand here. Thanks for that discussion.
Before we start going page by page through this, I just have one comment on what was submitted. Because you stated that it's going to be identical to what was built. But what was submitted does not have all the changes that we had agreed to on the 2017 September 28th meeting that's documented in the meeting minutes, and as well as the November 9th meeting of the same year. So what was submitted is old versus what was built currently. Because like, for example, on one of the pages, it has the gable with the material change right down the middle, and we had agreed not to do that. But that has been resubmitted in this package, as well as like 10 other things that we agreed to change on that meeting.
Quite a few exterior details.
What meeting was that?
September 28th of 2017.
Thank you.
That's the one that has like 10 items listed that they agreed to change, we all agreed to change, and it's not reflected in what was submitted today. So the question is, are you building identical to what's out there or identical to what you submitted? Because what you submitted is not what was built.
I would say to that, it's identical to, it's expanded and identical to what was previously submitted. As far as those changes, we would see those as conditioned to the approval in the same way that we did at that September 17th meeting.
September 28th. So we'll need to go sheet by sheet then and note those again as new stipulations for this one to match what was submitted and as stipulated back then.
Is there a reason that we can't get that shown on a set of elevations?
Yes, and if you could submit to us what had been recommended in the previous session, that would be appropriate.
Joe, my sheet you have right there, that's a split gable
Yeah.
that we had said.
Yeah, I know we went through all this last time we looked at this. If part of the project's already built, I feel like the rest of them should match. I don't wanna have a little hodgepodge out there or. Yeah, I understand it's a nice idea to have a few different materials, change them up a little so they don't all look like rubber stamps, but on the other hand, I don't want it to look like the first group that somebody bailed on, and the second group somebody came and built.
So they switched project forms.
I know,
And in between all that, stuff got changed,
yeah.
and they weren't following.
Well, some of the stipulations need to get picked up in the final product.
Excuse me, hey, Will, from my understanding, these are exact same forms, same colors, same materials that we started and had approval in 2018. We have not made any changes since that point in time, which is we reverted back to what was approved in 2018, the site plan back to 2018, and we then provided you exactly what we provided in 2018 that was approved by this committee.
But I got this the September 28th of 2017 submittal. I did not get we did not get an updated one with the changes that were requested and approved in that meeting.
Correct. You approve those on conditions.
Yes.
And to Kurt's point, that was what we submitted was the same thing, as to match that submittal. I think what I'm hearing in the concern there is that you had those conditions at that time in this application. The question is, should the current drawings include all of those conditions, or could it be approved based on the conditions of approval?
Well, my concern is that it's going to be the same things happening to what's built out there today, which doesn't have all the stipulations incorporated into the finished product out there at the moment.
Okay.
Since we never saw updated drawings with those revisions.
So, yeah,
I think we're gonna ask you for a new set of drawings that match our stipulations, so there's no confusion between us, yourselves, and the guy that's putting these things together. Instead of having a list of stipulations.
Well, or we issue a building permit, we're gonna wanna see the construction drawings. Under the new rules.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So on that question, if that were to be the recommendation of this board, if we were to take the meeting minutes from that, from the 2017 meeting, apply that to these drawings, which match that submittal. I just want to make sure that there aren't other conditions that we're then going to come back to that are going to be argued at the next meeting.
Well, we'll have to review that when we see it too.
Well, we definitely want to see that the changes that we all agreed to have been made. If they're not on the drawings you present to us, then they're just stipulations that can be ignored again. So we want them reflected in the drawings that we're going to look at for approval. I can't guarantee you there would be any other little changes, but typically at that point, if what we will ask for previously is on the set of drawings that we review, there may be a few other little issues that we would expect to be stipulations at that point.
Kurt?
The whole point of us having a meeting to review them and go through the changes was so that when we saw them the next time, they had the changes. And I understand you guys, you change people working on the project, but they still have to agree with what we've already agreed with. We can't start fresh every time.
And one of the stipulations from that meeting was the end units need revised elevations, and we never saw revised elevations from that one.
We also have a new process that's been recently approved, so that when you believe that you have completed the construction, the design review committee will do an inspection to make sure that everything is in line with what the stipulations were.
It seemed, so building 2 was approved.
So what?
Building 2, we have a building permit and it's approved. We could start with building 2.
We did that in the last year.
Yeah.
Just a few months ago, I have a building permit for building number 2.
That was a long time ago. I'd have to check that. That's been a while.
Yeah.
That's been before the foundation permits were applied for. I mean, that's been like almost a year, hasn't it? Or 6 months at least.
No.
I
I could go grab it.
Year or so, and that's when we started,
That's when we realized.
that we wanted to see the construction document, the actual construction documents prior to issue of the building permit. And we got those from you, and we verified that the things that we were interested in are in fact incorporated into construction documents. So we said, go ahead and issue the building permit. And that was some time.
So quite often, you need to set that incorporates what you're actually going to do. Why is that so difficult?
Yes, they never got their building permit for not building number 2. We have the application here, but that's about it. So.
All right, well, we'll need the minutes for what meeting you're discussing to make the adjustments. And we'll schedule another meeting.
And those could be online too. I'll email those, but they might just be online.
They were not.
Okay, I'll email them over to you then.
2018 was in the online. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there's nothing else to say. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you again.
We probably need to make sure that, they have a drainage plan.
Oh, boy, you'll send a,
They did not have a friend.
you can send a message with.
Brad, do you have a chronology on this whole thing?
Sort of. It's very unorganized.
Okay.
I dug it up this morning because I was looking at this, I'm like, wait a second, I got a split gable wherever that, and I'm like, I know we agreed not to do a split gable.
Well, and I know last time.
And that's when I started digging.
And a lot of them, like, there's, like, that's what I was asking, do they look like they were supposed to, the ones that are done, because there's flower boxes.
They're missing stuff.
Yeah, but so they aren't finished the way they were supposed to be, and I know.
Yes.
That was the other guy who built those, well, guess what?
Yeah, those are.
Another example is in the stipulations where we agreed to wood garage doors. They're
Yeah,
metal.
yeah, he's got that circle on here too.
Well, and it's like the
So, we
apartments.
need to send him this. as-
We need, what we really use go is look through the files of the history and
Give them a
kind of put a story together, because
Okay.
we had discussions about, okay, we understand it's stucco and based on the renderings and everything, it looks a whole lot different. What you see down there looks like it's unfinished wallboard.
Yeah.
The renderings showed clear demarcation between the stucco panels. And I think we talked about that, and you paint it black or do something, so that it doesn't look like an unfinished building.
Well, still got 75% of the comments, so my concern is what was resubmitted, basically went back
Yeah,
prior to that.
yeah.
So that was my concern, but still got 75% of the comments in this.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that there's a complete disjoint of what's communicated on that side, of what's required to be submitted, because there was a complete mess up there. The drawings, clearly, there was not a communication that needs to happen.
Well, one or two things has happened. They decided that they would submit the original plans and see if they could get it through without
Condition.
acknowledging the No.
So, and it seems like there's a lack of communication, that somehow that was dropped because, I think it's uncomfortable, you can feel the uncomfortable part of what was going on.
Well, they've gone through several different, how many different people that have been on this project.
Every time we have a meeting, it's a different,
And like I-
different to a building.
I told them, I understand your due, but you still have to do, you didn't know that, now you know, you still have to do it.
No, 359's been from the whole.
Yeah, pretty much.
Residential's been around this whole time, but but what they do is then they send it out to a firm to construct it.
Yeah.
And the plans, what we discovered on the apartments is
Well,
the plan that the construction firm got was the plan that they submitted to us and before we had made any stipulations.
And then they changed that.
And then-
Oh, I see what they did, they just rescinded the old one, because it's gonna take somebody like a couple of weeks to redraw this thing.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a matter of, this is exactly why we went through the process and got the town code change that says,
There we go.
Right.
you aren't gonna build anything until we see your construction plans, period.
Correct, and I think that's one of the things, when I first
We
went
need to
through this
make them
project,
aware.
this is not, I've never seen a project like this. I've never seen it, where normally it's concept preliminary, we go through the whole thing, and then it moves to final. So then we've already made all these changes. There's no preliminary, it's going straight to final to us, but yet there's changes going on.
It's been going on and on.
Well, we've been at this for what, 3 or 4 years now, at least?
Since 2017.
We did get preliminaries on this.
Yeah, we went,
We did.
We are, yeah, we spent-
2017.
we spent years going through this to get it to where it is now. And what's happened is, once we got to the final stage where we get into COA, that's when everything stopped, because there was no follow-up after the COA. They basically did what they wanted to do. Yeah, it kind of looks like sort of what was on the COA, but the devil's in the details.
But Jen, you said that they started building without a building permit, or building two?
No,
No, it's in the-
They never got the building.
Foundation permit is different than a building permit.
Yeah,
Is that what?
They have the foundation permits.
So not the buildings.
Yeah.
Because we want to see the drawings.
And he had stated that they're identical, but what's submitted is not. I'm just saying what we're seeing is not.
In an ideal world, they would maybe not hurt to have incorporated all the work that was done.
Well, it's probably in their files, but they just never do it.
They have to incorporate it into the construction document.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
But they
it's
did.
not gonna get built that
way. They did it on the first.
No, they didn't.
No, I think they just.
They said yes to us, they never.
I don't think they-
They don't have to, so the construction companies, that's not. But when they showed up.
So
they
it's-
said,
What they did is they submitted their pre-packaged,
They
but they don't want to redo the
What about
pre-packaged with all the stuff in it, because that takes a lot of.
Their
time.
COA expired in,
It's like
9/21.
And see, here's another problem, so
they had to
they're
come back
back
to
to us, they're supposed to be submitting a complete package to us.
And now the rules have changed, it says you're not gonna get the building permit. That's right.
Significantly. I wanna make sure that's. So they just figured, I guess I'll just submit the existing without the conditions and do final, and now they're gonna have to go significantly use.
Well, they submitted what we had reviewed before.
Yeah, he's spending a ton of money.
And essentially to make that pre-packaged, it's gonna take somebody a lot of time to get all that place, and then they never did that before because they just went straight to CDs.
Yeah, and I think, certainly we have to take into consideration the enormous stress that's on the economy, the culture. I mean, it's huge, but it still can't eliminate our need to be able to see an appropriate all the true.
So, another thing, when I just saw those drawings, that was what I normally saw with modulars in brush.
Yeah, that's what.
And I couldn't stand it. The guy that was doing this in Brush in Fort Morgan is Jay Stoner, LDI, and then I found out that he's done a project with him. That I was
So it's a modular, it's sort of presupposed, right? I mean, if you're doing stick
I
built.
cannot quickly find that.
No, I'll find it, so.
I'll do it.
I don't know. It's drastically changed in the last 3 to 5 years, modular builds. The quality is significantly higher than it's ever been. So I don't want to bash that. I think the problem is how it's delivered. And then when they put it together, sometimes it doesn't fit exactly because the ground's not the same. I mean, when you're putting concrete slab, there's gonna be a slope and everything else, so it doesn't necessarily fit exactly how it was designed and shot. So that's what Mark was referring to is, and then when you see the picture, it's clear.
Well, and everything down the lake is all like, that's how I.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
probably.
microtel is stick.
The microtel is.
And they haven't had their windows blown out, they haven't had their roof blow off, they haven't had any of those things done. And there's no buildings in front of it, microtel compared to yeah. And so just as much as there's nothing to protect the condos have windows blowing out left and right, they got box, I mean, it has been.
It's a mess.
It's a mess.
But I'll bet a lot of the problems with the modules that are down there, material selections and the way they were put on, like all the roofing and all that, that was all stick built. But what do they use for roofing materials? We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that.
It didn't last very long.
No,
No, that is as decorated by Hillside on the west side of the highway.
This should be the reason somebody.
And the town has,
But is that because it's modular? I don't think that's because it's modular.
no, I think it's, I agree, all the use of the modular, those are materials.
But it's the materials and the finished product.
Because all the exteriors of they were put on after the modules were set. Now, I've heard that the inside of those things are not terrific either. Again, it's the finished materials, Joe.
The engineering's gonna say it's gonna stand up with either one. So.
Well, yeah, I think will,
So,
but that's all the stuff you don't see.
It can't be cheaper to ship whole units across the country and then have to come out.
Yeah.
Well, it's
but you
been
heard
a
what-
few years
but you
ago,
heard why
probably
he
not
said
this year.
that. He said because his partner
Uh-huh.
had to deal with it, so
Well,
I wouldn't approve that ever.
Well, they had one building where the plumbing was completely reversed from the plumbing that was in the ground. So they had to redo all the plumbing in the ground. I know that, I witnessed that.
I've seen
And
that.
I also witnessed the sprinkler guy going in there and walking away from the job because it was such a mess. They had to cut in all the drywall, the plumber had to cut in all the drywall because there was plumbing problems in the place from the manufacturer.
Yeah.
So I can't believe in the interim, it's that cost efficient doing much, right, especially at Fort Hall.
Well, the difference to me though, where it saves him, is our building window here.
Yeah. I agree with
That's
that.
the problem, is
Yeah.
because it's a shorter building window, because of the climate we're in.
Yeah.
Whereas Fort Morgan and Brush, we have a larger footprint to build.
Well, and I mean, he's right in terms of getting labor.
We're back in July, he should have been building already,
Yeah,
so his building period's already.
it's done for this year.
Yeah, correct.
The stick build the townhouses is a lot different than trying to stick build an apartment.
Yes,
I think stick building, this townhouse is going pretty fast.
yes.
I
because
agree. It's just that
house.
Yeah.
Just hires a crew and brings them up here, if it's like a micro hotel, he can get his stuff.
Yeah.
So, I have a question, is there sort of a sense that the products that have been built in already are poor quality? Is that the message?
Yes, the townhomes, absolutely. But not the microtel and the brewery, the microtel and the brewery are very
So
solid.
people who are actually living in their homes have quality issues.
Well, people living in the apartments have quality issues.
That's what I'm saying, their homes.
I can't believe that's apartments, quite frankly.
So is there like a reputation that if you buy something in Georgetown, you're
Well, I think it's.
From the locals, yes. Cause I live here, I mean, I'm here, I've been talking to everybody, cause I've been looking for a house, and everyone's like, stay away from this, stay away from that area, stay away from this one. This one was built just, because of the Olympics, and it's like thrown together, so I've heard it all.
Yeah.
But from an outsider, they're not gonna hear that.
reading down there, it's what you hear this.
Is it aesthetic quality or is it structural quality or what is the quality?
That's a good.
Because a structural should be engineered and should be fine.
Yeah, I think engineer wise, I think it's fine.
It's just aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, I've got a friend that's done some fix up work down at a couple of the towns down there, and he says it's quality.
Yeah.
The materials, why?
And the water coming through the electrical outlets and all that stuff? In apartments?
That's not a good thing.
That's what they call town hall, closes that, no? Yeah.
Because in hospitals, we'll do units and put the whole unit in there, different construction, so. Than the stick one.
Okay, so we can wait for him to come back to us, do we need to send some type of a letter or something?
I think we ought to send a letter to them explaining the process, the updated process. So they know right up front what we expect and how it's going to work this time.
And I mean, if they're close to having construction drawings,
Yeah.
so is the construction drawings.
Yeah.
Comment on those,
Yeah,
then we know we don't have to do that again.
right.
Well, one of my comments was gonna be that there's some blocks that have 4 units in a row, but all the drawings only have 3 units in a row.
Yeah.
Their drawings have 25-foot tall trees, but then they have no trees on their landscape plan.
Well, they're not gonna.
There are inconsistencies, are there not?
Can I ask the other question too, I'm gonna have to send an email to him, because I've been asking him to take down the rocks that are stacked up. It's been a month now, and he still hasn't taken them down, so I'm gonna have to follow up.
The burn that he's.
No, that was the second part, but the first one, he's got rocks that are stacked up in the middle of the field that have not been taken down, which I've already requested.
Are
because
they
it's
gonna
safe.
use them for something?
He said, yes, they're gonna use it, but I'm like, take them down, put them somewhere. But the burn is my question is, I don't like it personally, because but he said, when I had a meeting with him, he said it's for noise reduction. I mean, did we approve
We
that?
didn't have a berm 10 feet high.
No, we didn't, but we do have to get, and what hopefully we're ordering up, we have to get a survey that shows us where our right of way is. because that
He knows
berm-
he's gonna have to move it too.
Yeah,
But
the berm
I'm-
sits there.
Did we approve a burn?
No,
No. So why are we not?
It was low, like
it was not.
Yeah.
There's a berm like along the road or
I
something.
guess I'm afraid that he's gonna go into construction and it's not gonna get removed. Like, shouldn't it be removed, just piled up like that?
Well, I think we can go after that with the other projects, though, Rick, because we got the money to do the sidewalk and the, bike path down there, and we're going to indicate where our right of way is, which is going to force him to move that berm. And then we should come back to, we did talk about a small berm, but not this big.
There's certainly nothing like the mountains down.
I guess that's what I'm afraid of, that this doesn't get caught, and all of a sudden he's built, and then it's too late.
Well, that's the whole thing.
Right.
That first phase of this project,
I think it would be in the town's interest to have somebody riding her over this project.
Yeah.
Because it's way bigger than what we can handle.
And also, the berm, is that sediment that came from the lake?
Yes.
So is that contaminated material?
No, not particularly, but
Okay.
it's a
It's
lot
very
of
subtle.
it is a funeral truck. Now, but CDOT, helped pay for the dredging of the lagoon and lake, and one of the reasons they did is because CDOT used so much sand over the years that it is some sediment sand, which would be some salted sand. It doesn't have the kind of chemical compound that, for instance, our reservoir above our head, it has formate, has the settling out of mine waste kind of stuff. That's not particularly what was happening in the reservoir. The reservoir was sand and sediment from the highway. Ryan's shaking his head, I
Yes,
got
you're
that straight,
absolutely
don't I?
right.
It's not hazardous.
We can attest on that,
Okay.
and see that can attest, and yes, it wasn't, nothing like the forebay.
No, nothing like it. However, that yes, that berm is the result of that, of that dredging of the lake. And it was more material, I think, than anybody expected.
That's why CDOT pitched in on the dredging, is because it was proven that it was put on the roads, that it come down, and it slowly happened. So they weren't contaminating the roads, that sooner or later got to the lake. It was their stuff, and then they were like, oh, I guess we have to pitch in on that, and that's, so most of that is probably just go put it back in CDOT's yard, and they can use it again on some other road.
They can have.
So it's
Except
not,
that they don't use any sand on it.
yeah, but there's no contaminant, there's no contaminants.
No, there are contaminants in that.
It doesn't have a hydrolat film.
So it's showing on the plan that they have berms.
Yeah. Their shut is green, means they be landscape.
It was discussed.
Well, they also can separate
I'm not-
right of way because we have to put a sidewalk.
That part I don't know that.
And so we do absolutely have to get that, that's one of the reasons that
Who's volunteer?
between Rick and I, we are getting that project started. And the first step of that project has to be the right of way survey, because we have to know what space we have down there.
And I think berms will pass their green location.
I don't know if
Well, he already
Well,
speaks
they are
on
higher than the fence.
No, they were.
I mean, that,
We talked
it's
about.
on a berm, it's a mountain.
Well, he had told me that he was going to see the berms, but I'm just real. I guess I'm concerned that if he sees them now, they're permanent. And, it's like, I want this to be addressed and whatever he's gonna do so that it gets to the point where it needs to be.
I don't think you need to worry about seeding, and that'll be something we have today to do, and he's not gonna do it.
I believe we did see them in 2021.
Really?
Because of, they were trying to control
the dust.
the dust.
but they didn't add them or anything.
No, they just.
They didn't matter or anything, they came out and sprayed that
Green stuff.
that green stuff on it, and stuff like that, but nothing is growing on that.
So the other problem is that the kind of sedimentation that was is not particularly conducive to plant health.
It's not dirt.
They have the soil. And there's just lots of trees on it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was supposed to be landscape.
Well,
It was a landscape berm.
place, we
Yeah.
can move it.
And they were shorter too, right? Were they shorter?
I'm not trying to hide it.
Yeah.
Thing changed, remember, so.
Yeah, I shouldn't find it.
No, I mean, the apartments never, they did what they're supposed to do.
63 results.
Oh,
So-
He sells those now, so.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, well, what's gonna happen when he sells all these houses, and it's still a dust bowl for a mess down
Yeah, because it will be his problem
No.
when they're.
That's correct, that's why we have to stop him at this point
Yeah,
and get this.
who wants to write this letter?
No, I'm just kidding.
If I had come from the town administrator, explain
Okay,
the
are
process.
you informed enough on all this?
I'm not informed enough.
Okay.
If you can give me an email with details, I can incorporate a letter.
Well, that's why I'm asking Brent if we have a chronology.
I can dig that up this weekend.
That would be.
If you can
lovely.
give
If
me
you can
some
get
data,
chronology,
because
get it-
Yeah,
get
I'm
it
still,
in, Jen and Rick and.
I can put
put
it-
together the
there's a
pieces.
piece.
We had stuff last year on this.
I just said tea on
We got- It was the meeting, I mean,
So we went over the apartment thing several
and
times.
I thought we went over the townhomes that are already built down there as well.
You did, because you did it, and then.
Well, I know I got pictures and
And you reported to us.
Yeah,
on-
and that's
on
what we
they
were
I'll see if
had.
I can find that on my computer
okay.
somewhere.
So we were
Sorry.
talking about last, was there a deputy guy that we talked to?
Well, that was the building.
Okay, okay.
Young
And,
guy.
and, you
Yeah.
know, we were pretty
It was
explicit.
beating up on
yeah.
him and, yeah, I felt bad for him.
Well, I said, yeah, I'm sorry, you know, that this is.
The answer is no.
So, yeah, okay.
So in this letter, are you suggesting that this letter incorporate all the conditions that are?
No.
No, we have, but then, no,
Yes.
yeah. But we need to let them.
We
know.
don't set the conditions, I mean, what we expect to see from them and why we expect to see from them.
And no, they're not gonna.
And we're gonna be watching.
So this is like what, 2-paragraph letter?
No.
Because you also.
We should refer them to the new town code as well.
Yeah.
That's process.
That's the big thing, is that changes.
That changes the way that they have to operate with us.
Yeah, and we will take a look at it and start with, all right, these are, we want to enumerate the conditions, but it, this state, this representative stipulations were added that will not show on these. And please be aware that you have to follow the process now, that, and all stipulations must be incorporated in the section drawings we see. And essentially, you're telling them what we told them.
Just we write all of that.
Yeah, we
I just write all of
Yeah, we can, you're sure.
What they were hoping for is just to all see this without. standing
Correct.
on it.
For Sally, oh, yeah.
Yes.
Because they're not
This is like,
doing
this is
that.
like when we decided to change the design on the structure.
Yeah.
I went to the DHM and said, can you tweak the rendering? Well, sure, yeah, for $16,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they said, well, okay, it's not worth $16,000, just make the picture look like, kind of like what's gonna be built, so.
It's gonna take 359, like 2 weeks, probably 1 or 2 minutes time to.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna cost some money.
This is a first package, it takes time to make it
That's
pretty.
why it didn't come out, didn't understand. Well,
This is a major investment, excuse me.
you know what?
It's an
Yeah.
excellent-
We wouldn't have this problem, we could just build it what we said we could.
Yeah.
It'd be done by now.
I've never seen something like this. Never.
Okay, so what I'm gonna ask is then, if all of you have anything.
I'll look and see, and I will
In this
send it
letter,
out.
Cindy, if
See
you
what-
have anything you
No,
know.
I don't, because I don't save stuff.
I save stuff, I'll find the current.
Okay, if you I'll get the information to it.
This weekend.
When you have.
It won't be tomorrow.
It won't be Monday because that's the fourth.
Right.
I'm gonna send anything I find to Brett.
Okay,
Perfect.
perfect, so you
Not
have.
yet.
And I'll look for it too, yeah.
Okay,
Betsy, did you have anything you wanted to?
you're in tomorrow.
Yes.
Well, I would be happy to, edit a draft. And if you guys put together basic raw materials, I'm happy to.
I'm not writing a letter, but I'll pull materials.
So maybe reach out to Rick when he's working on it, if you want.
Yeah, sure.
We'll make it a little collaborative effort.
And, you know, we really killed ourselves putting together, as, you know, as a group, this consistent language, which we should continuously use, I think.
Yes.
It exists in the brochure. Yes, it's already been a lot.
Well, this committee has spent an incredible amount of time on this project.
Oh, I'm
We're
sure.
not just actually know that.
All in all, adds up to what?
And I begin to resent that all the time they expect from us, you know, we keep talking about, well, it's gonna be done in 2 weeks, I'm like, yeah, here we'll be right, you know, spending our free.
But you know, the good part is the consistency here.
Yeah.
Because you can imagine if we all had different people here, it would take forever to try to get the backstory.
Well, yeah, that's true, we've all been on this for a while, so.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean.
Are you saying we've been at this too long, Rick?
No, it's project, it's project, it's a very long cycle.
Right,
So tons of meetings, right?
Are we off yet?
Can we?
No, not until you adjourn.
Yeah, let's.
I got a quick question.
Okay.
Anybody?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank-
Are those questions up there or?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm.
Aye, thank you.
Turn the